So a lot of you requested to make the video about my kind of tests. This is gonna be a long video and I'm gonna try my best to try to, summarize, I guess. So this video might make a lot of you look at me differently, but that's completely fine because I would much rather have my real image and not some false image of me, right? Exactly. So I used to never pray at all. I was really, really far away from Allah. So it's not like the whole, oh yeah, maybe I didn't pray as I used to. No, I wasn't praying at all. It would be an achievement if I even pray al-subh, the morning prayer. I also never used to make dua for anyone. The biggest I would make is just the Rabbina ma'ak, which basically means may Allah be with you. That's it. And I'll be honest, I probably didn't even mean it a lot of times. I would just say it when someone tells me the famous, hey, please pray for me. Maybe you're closer to Allah than me, that kind of thing. So I just say, well, may Allah be with you. In fact, I didn't even know Arkan al-Islam. The 5 pillars of faith. The last one, Hajj al-Bayt liman istata' alayhi sabila. Yeah, I'll never forget, I used to literally say Hajj al-Bayt liman istata' alayhi sabila. Didn't know what the hell I was saying other than the word Hajj al-Bayt. Didn't even bother to look it up. So just to give you an idea. I'm also someone who's typically more logical than I am emotional. However, in my college years, it got even worse. I became extremely logical. Honestly, I thought of myself like an alien. Yeah, stupid, I know. That I basically, because of how much emotion I lack. And I was just very logical. And yes, it did have to do with depression in my college years. I also loved a lot of people. However, never made dua for any of them. All I can think of, and immediately, I know exactly why I loved them, what I loved, that kind of thing. But I never made dua for them. They never brought me closer to Allah. I never decided to pray for none of this. In fact, I actually loved another girl. Despite the ticket to Allah, we knew each other for 5 years in college, by the way. And I loved another girl. I never loved the ticket to Allah. Never loved her. I also know myself very well. I can easily move on from anyone like it's nothing. Because of not a lot of emotion, like I said. And the girl that I loved, even though the ticket to Allah, I already knew her. We weren't even friends. We were somewhat more like colleagues, but not even friends. But literally just one instance with the girl that I loved, something in her personality struck me as not great. And I just, all of a sudden, I don't love her anymore. Just like that. And like I said, I loved a bunch of girls before, and I easily moved on like it's nothing. So the same with that one as well, even though it lasted, I think, for like 2 years, and I just moved on. Like nothing happened. Subhanallah. No dua, no prayer, nothing. Now fast forward to the year before the last year in college, or maybe the last year in college, I felt different. Keep in mind, still away from Allah. No prayers, no dua, nothing. I just suddenly felt different about that ticket to Allah. It just felt weird. We were friends, more than colleagues now, but just friends. But it's not like we hang out or talk at all or anything. But I just felt different. It's hard to explain. I felt very protective. That's the weird way to put it. I felt very protective that I need to protect this girl for some reason. I feel protective. I just felt like I have to make sure this girl's safe the entire time. She has to be safe. I have to make sure she's okay from far away. Why? Well, at the time, no idea. In fact, the weirdest thing is, she was already with someone, and I still felt that protective nature. And I know myself. Like I said, I don't have a lot of emotion, and yet I feel strangely protective about this girl. for some reason. And I mean extremely, like protective. I need to make sure she's okay. Why? I have no idea. Like I said, well, I have no idea. I mean, at least in that time. And during that time as well in college, my depression got a lot worse. And I mean a lot worse. Yes. I literally went through every stage of depression you could possibly think of, except one, hurting myself. Because I know that also exists. But the suicidal one, definitely. The suicidal thoughts, all of that. And still no praying, no dua, nothing. Even sometimes I would finally start praying, but then, out of the question, I stop. And I'll never forget the way I used to pray, wallahi. It was so stupid and bad. I would pray like this, exactly like this. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in ihdinas siratal mustaqim siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin Ameen. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. That was literally Surah Al-Fatiha the way I would read it. Now imagine the other surahs. And of course I would sin a lot. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure that out, considering I never prayed. So no protection, none of that. So sins are very easy, and I'm vulnerable, that kind of thing, obviously. Because shaitan will be a lot more powerful, right? Now fast forward to the last year in college. The feeling got even stronger. It was getting strangely more than just protective. But it wasn't love. It was weird to describe. It was more like I feel at peace when I am around her. Not even talking to her, just around her. I feel strangely at peace. Whatever that means. I just feel at peace. And yes, like I said, we were friends. And we got closer as friends. But I would feel at peace because the protective nature became even more strong. At this point, it became more like feeling at peace only when I'm around her. And that feeling, I know all too well because, as I said, I loved a lot of girls. And never once did I feel at peace or even drawn closer to Allah or things like none of that. None of that. Now remember, we knew each other for 5 years. But in the last year, before the famous COVID-19, I always thought this girl had like a bubbly personality. She does. She's very smiley. However, this is the first time I could read her. I could read her emotions and I could tell she is very, very depressed. But she hides it very well. And then fast forward to our COVID-19, the famous quarantine in 2020, right? So we were obviously separated. And I could tell she was in trouble. Even though we weren't speaking all that much, I could tell she was in trouble. For the first time ever in my life, it felt like I was holding something back that I didn't want to happen. My thoughts were literally going crazy. This was before the COVID thing, by the way. I felt a very strong, powerful thought to text her and make sure she's okay. I could not stop myself. And I know myself, like I said, I am very logical. I literally wrote like almost 30 lines on WhatsApp worth of text to her. It was such a long wall of text. They'll never forget. And I was trying so hard not to press the send button on WhatsApp. I mean, actually trying so hard. Do you know the ironic thing? The fear was that she would read that wall of text and love me for it. Yeah, ironic, right? So imagine that was literally my worst fear. But I couldn't stop, even with that. That I basically was going, screw it, I pressed send, and I swear, I actually threw the phone so that I don't go back on my words. And just press send and threw the phone on the bed. Just like that. And I was just literally going around in circles in the room. Oh my god, what the hell did I do? Are you stupid? She's definitely gonna love you for this. That kind of thing. Wallahi. She's gonna look at you differently, etc. That kind of thing. Basically, she replied, crying, saying nobody reached out to me before because I used to always reach out for anyone for help, but they left me in the end, that kind of thing. So she had trust issues, she had massive depression, like I suspected, all of these things, and she was crying when she read it. And she was happy, and she said that meant the world to me, that kind of thing. I basically said, I know that's gonna make you look at me differently in the end of a text, because I'm being a true friend to you. I can't just leave you like this knowing that you're depressed. And she appreciated it, basically. Now to the COVID-19 with the quarantine. I could tell she was in trouble. And the depression got even worse for her. For the first time ever in my life, it felt, for some reason, like there was something I was holding back. No, believe it or not, it was not love. Yet. Wallahi, this is truly unbelievable. I was going crazy and I just said, I have to make dua for her. It was like that. It was like I was holding it back so hard, but I couldn't anymore. I have to make dua for her. And yes, I have to make dua for her. It was that weird. As if, why you specifically? I have no idea. As soon as I said that, wallahi, I'm not making this up. You can even ask Allah if I'm lying. As simple as that, see? Literally, I just felt there was a voice speaking to me. Obviously my voice, but it was also the same time, even though it sounds like me, it's like it wasn't me because it was replying to me, telling me, and do you think Allah's going to reply to you, answer your dua when you're sinning and not even praying? I immediately answered and I said, then I will start praying then. Just like that. Less than a week. Remember how many years it's been going on. Less than a week. I'm praying all my 5 obligatory prayers like it's nothing. The voice came back. That's not enough. So I literally went on the internet. Keep in mind, my religious knowledge was basically zero. Remember? Arkan al-Islam literally didn't even know all of them. How to get your dua answered. And I find this thing called, this thing, I didn't even know it. This thing called tahajjud, the night prayer. I also found this thing called istikhara. Didn't even know what that was, guys. Didn't even know what that was. I read about them. Immediately the first thing in mind, I'm gonna pray this tahajjud. Yeah, I'm gonna pray this tahajjud. How many rak'ahs is this tahajjud thing? I find, it can be 8 rak'ahs, 2 rak'ahs the least. I then find Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to do it like 13 rak'ahs or something like that. So I went, I'm gonna do it like Prophet Muhammad. I'm doing 13 rak'ahs. Yeah, 13 rak'ahs. I was that crazy. The dua was the whole time, keep in mind, the dua the whole time was, protect this girl, Ya Allah. It was something along those lines. Ya Allah, protect her. Ya Allah, protect her. Please help her. And I'm going the whole time. Istikhara, tahajjud. Trying to find anything to try to basically get Allah to answer me because I'm just not worthy. You know what I mean? Because I'm obviously thinking, well, because of the sins, all this thing. And literally, the entire time, guys, I had no idea I was skyrocketing in closeness to Allah. Skyrocketing. It was less than a month. I'm learning so much about the religion. And suddenly, the du'as changed. It did not become, you guessed it, it did not become, Ya Allah, protect her. It became, Ya Allah, make her my wife or something like that. You can think it's feelings and all of these things, But I know myself. Like I said, extremely logical. No emotions. Can move on like it's nothing. And as soon as the dua changed into that, it felt weird. It felt like I was holding myself back from saying that with the protection. But as soon as it came out, I couldn't stop it, and then it just kept going like this. With the istikhara, tahajjud, I didn't even believe fully, because I believe that yes, I mean, Allah's the creator. There's no way he doesn't communicate with his servants, right? There has to be a way he communicates with us. But I had no idea how. It wasn't a full belief that it's signs on Facebook, social media, things like that. I was thinking that was probably ridiculous. Until I encountered my first ever sign. And yes, you guessed it, it's a positive sign about the dua. But what was weird was what? I didn't believe fully that Allah even sends signs. And yet when I looked at it, it felt very strange. Like, this is a sign from Allah. What are you talking about? I don't know, but this feels like a sign. Is Allah talking to me? Wallah lazim. Just like that. Didn't even fully believe, like I said. Don't even know how. Just, I believe this is a sign from Allah. Allah's talking to me. He's telling me something. And yes, you guessed it. The moment I started believing this is a sign, I got even more signs. Positive. A lot of signs. However, what was happening in real life, I guess you can say? The opposite. She was getting further away from me. Her depression was getting worse. So it was like the opposite of the dua was happening. It was actually getting worse for her. She really believed herself to be like the devil. She believed she was a horrible person, a bad person, that kind of thing. She did not believe she was a good person at all. Didn't want to believe it because of her past. But the signs are all positive. This dua will be accepted, whatever, all of this. It wasn't undeniable though, yet. It was just a bunch of positive signs, but the timing is impeccable. It's unbelievable. And the dua would keep getting more and more powerful, more long, more detailed, more than just, ya Allah, make him a wife or whatever. It became even more strong. And I'm just going and going and going and getting even closer to Allah unknowingly, just skyrocketing. And you guessed it, what was happening as well? My life was becoming miserable. Even more than it already was. Remember, I was already depressed. It got even worse. So, you're already depressed, suicidal, and it got even worse when you started getting closer to Allah. Yeah, it got even worse. Can you imagine? Subhanallah. Even though it was getting worse, my dua was actually getting stronger, not less. Even though my life was getting even worse, she was getting further away, she was getting even worse in her depression. But the dua was getting even more powerful. It didn't stop. It was even getting stronger and stronger. Till it became literally every time I pray, I make that dua. I can't not make it. And you guessed it. Every time the dua is made more, it gets worse. My depression gets worse, my life gets worse, my tests get worse, she gets worse. Ironic, huh? Anyone would, of course, use the famous, those are red flags. This is clearly bad for you. Allah's telling you it's bad for you. Stop making the dua, right? But my dua was actually getting stronger, and I could not stop it. And I just kept making it even more. Now it's more than just in my prayers. It's even at random times throughout the day, just doing nothing, I make dua for her. Subhanallah. And the signs are getting even more powerful. But I started really believing those positive signs. Maybe this girl is more than just someone that I'm praying for, or that Allah's just telling me He'll help her. Because what was also happening, my love for her was getting stronger as well. I actually felt, for the first time, I love this girl. Remember, never loved her. And for the first time ever, I could feel her soul. Yeah, I could feel her soul. It's hard to explain, but what I literally mean is what? We're in COVID-19, we're in quarantine. But I could feel that she's not okay or that she's okay. Yeah, don't ask how. I don't know either. But I could tell she was not okay or that she's okay. I could feel her soul. It's more like a representation of mine. When I'm feeling bad, I know she's feeling bad. Yeah, crazy, I know. And you guessed it, my love just keeps climbing and climbing and climbing every time the dua is made, even though I can't stop the dua, and it keeps getting worse. But my love is getting stronger. The signs are getting stronger. And now that I believe the signs, guess what? Negative signs started to arrive. Now I'm getting positive and negative signs. And I, of course, know nothing. This is my first time, as you know, even, wow, Allah sends signs, but He sends negative. Now I don't even know what that means. I just call them positive and negative signs. So now I'm confused. Wait. So now Allah's telling me this is bad? But I can't stop the dua. Also, I mean, my life is getting worse. Maybe that is what He's telling me. But my love is getting stronger, though. And she's getting worse. What? And I'm so confused. And every time I would make istikhara, yeah, you guessed it. So for the whole, it has nothing to do with your heart, and it's all the events unfolding without your heart at all. No dreams, none of this, right? Every time I make istikhara, it gets even worse. So again, perfect example, right? Red flags around you, this is clearly bad for you, blah, 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 And let me remind you all, by the way, I had no one with me. I'm literally this entire time in isolation. So no one to reassure me, no one to tell me this is a sign to you from Allah, no one to even tell me Allah sends signs, or hey, believe this sign. Allah's telling you this. No one to guide me, basically, is what I'm saying. No one there to guide me. Just me and Allah. That's it. With my depressed self. But then when I start to doubt and believe those negative signs, maybe this is bad for me because my life is getting worse. The signs go away and it's now just positive. What? What is going on here? So is it good for me? Okay. I believe them again. Negative signs come again. What is this? What are these games? And the whole time, whether positive, negative, whatever, the whole time, things are just getting worse. In fact, I would text her, make sure she's okay, that kind of thing, but she just keeps getting worse. She thinks she's evil, she's not a good person. I tell her, Allah loves you. She doesn't want to believe it because of her past. She keeps saying, I don't deserve Him. I don't deserve Allah's forgiveness. Things like that. I tell her, what do you mean you deserve His forgiveness? Just repent for your sins. I also thought I wasn't. That kind of thing. But she doesn't want to believe it. So the dua gets even stronger and stronger. And I just can't stop it. It became basically a part of my life at this point. I can't stop that dua. And not dua in general. No, that dua, it has to come out of my mouth, otherwise I can't function. Basically. Remember the guy that she was with that we said? She actually left him during that time in COVID-19 and that kind of thing, but she went back to him. So this is all during the dua, by the way. She went back to him. And I could tell the guy is not good for her. I could tell. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, it was a little bit of jealousy, but I could honestly tell he was not good for her at the same time. But yes, I'm not gonna act like there wasn't jealousy involved as all, as well. But she said she loves this guy and she wants to marry him. And as soon as she said that, she said something else that destroyed me. And I know that's gonna be incredibly selfish, but like I said, I don't want this false image, right? For the first time ever, she said to me, and I want to fix my relationship with Allah so that I can be with Him and marry Him. I am going to pray istikhara. So why did that destroy me? Because she's the reason I'm getting closer to Allah. So naturally, I would want to be the reason also she's getting closer to Allah. But she was getting closer to Allah for someone else. So that destroyed me. Again, I know, incredibly selfish. And this was during the last 10 nights of Ramadan, ironically. The last 10 nights, the holy nights, mashallah. And before the 10 nights of Ramadan, in Ramadan itself, I was actually blocked by her. Yeah, blocked. Mashallah. And you guessed it. Even with all of this happening, my dua is just getting stronger. I mean, this is literally, I wouldn't even call those red flags, those are crimson flags. And yet, I can't stop. MashaAllah. And yes, you guessed it as well. By those around me, loved ones even, I'm called delusional. And let's be real, can I blame them? Of course I'll be called delusional. I'm called delusional. What are you doing? Why are you praying for this girl? This girl's bad for you, whatever. She clearly is not even good for you. I mean, she's with someone else. She even wants to marry that person. Just leave her be, whatever, all of this. Everything you can imagine, I was called. But I still, yeah, stupid, did not care. SubhanAllah. I keep saying, but Allah's signs. I got sent a lot of signs. Well, it were not undeniable yet. Hold on. But it started to really overwhelm me. You know, the fact that I'm even blocked. Now we went into the last 10 nights of Ramadan, as we said, right? And she really wanted to marry him, and you get the idea. What happens? It got so overwhelmingly bad, the whole getting called delusional, getting called whatever, all of this, that I just went, yeah, there's no way this girl is good for me. There's just no way. I don't care anymore. Even if I get signs telling me, no, continue your dua. Yeah, I was getting things like that. I didn't care anymore. I don't care anymore. Nothing is gonna bring me back to that dua. Again, I know myself. And I really just went, I am never gonna make dua for her anymore. It's over. In fact, I'm gonna apologize to her, and I'm going to tell her this guy is good for her, even though I don't feel like he is. But I'm still gonna say, yeah, he's good for you, just marry him, that kind of thing. Because ironically, she actually values my opinion more than everyone else. Even more than the guy she wants to marry. Imagine that. MashaAllah, how ironic and beautiful the way things work with Allah, right? She was so happy when she heard me tell her, give her the approval, I guess you can say. And I just went, I'll support you all the way. And she said, I'll support you all the way in each other's wedding. Ironically. Once again, the irony from Allah. We literally both said we are going to be at each other's wedding to support each other. But what we didn't know is, of course, we were actually referring to our own. SubhanAllah. And you would think I was sad, right? But like I said, I can easily move on, right? I was actually happy and calm. I felt like a weight was off my shoulders. I can finally relax. I am not this crazy idiot that thinks Allah talks with him. Of course not. What the hell was I thinking? And my heart is going, did you forget Allah's signs? And I'm going, shut up, shut up, shut up. I don't care. Signs, the signs were talking about something else. Remember, they were not undeniable. They were probably explaining something else. Maybe it's some other girl that I haven't seen yet. Makes sense. Actually, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And my dua became general. Ya Allah, grant me a righteous partner. And even though I'm lost to Allah, I know you're going to help me. Because I did get a lot closer to Allah. So I know you're going to help me, Allah, regardless. What happened? By the way, before I became calm, I do have to say, I was crying like a madman. Obviously. Yeah, this guy was crying. The guy that lacks emotions. So you can imagine how difficult it is. Now remember, last 10 nights of Ramadan. So I just went to bed and slept. I had my first ever vision. Keep in mind, I never fully believed in visions. Didn't even know what they would look like. And even if I were to receive one, how the hell am I supposed to know it's even a vision? Probably not real, whatever. And even if it is real, I'd be the last person to receive one. I had a vision. It was just me walking in my house. And as I was walking, I heard a very powerful, echoey voice going, just repeating those lines. A sign is coming, a sign is coming, a sign is coming, a sign is coming. Then when I woke up, I was basically going, a sign is coming, a sign is coming, a sign is coming. This was a vision. I was screaming under my breath, of course. Wallah, that was a sign. That kind of thing, so I don't wake anyone up. Keep in mind, that was it. That was the vision. And yet, somehow, I woke up screaming a sign is coming, and I knew exactly who the sign is referring to. Remember, no more dua, none of this. And I knew the sign was about her. Somehow. Screaming. This was definitely something from Allah. And what happened? Keep in mind, nothing happened in the moment, but I knew she left him. I knew she left him, despite not seeing it at all, but I knew she left him. Subhanallah. It honestly, it feels like when Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, remember, when his son was very close and he said, I smell Yusuf in the air, and they thought he was crazy. Oh boy, he's back to his old antics again, that kind of thing. And he was close. Yeah. I knew she left him, even though nothing happened from the looks of it. Like I said, guys, nothing to do with the eyes. But I did not try to say anything. I just talked to her normally and I said, because I could tell she was depressed again. Her picture changed. Are you okay? What's wrong? I even reaffirmed to support her, as I said. You're going to marry him. Weren't you happy? You were so happy you're finally going to marry him. She did not reply. She read the message and did not reply. So I knew something definitely happened as I thought. As soon as I woke up, remember, I knew she left him. Then hours passed. She made a post about saying, always trust your gut feeling. When you feel something just doesn't feel right, imagine, doesn't feel right about a person or situation, always trust your gut. That was literally made in the same day. And I immediately knew who that post was referring to. Because she left him. And it was attributed to a what? A gut feeling. Keep in mind, this is the guy she's been with for years. And she wanted my opinion more than everybody else. And I told her, finally, yeah, marry him. And what happens? Subhanallah. Just like that, she doesn't love him anymore. Go figure. So now, of course, the signs are getting a lot more undeniable at this stage, right? Now this girl is definitely more than just someone I love. This is Allah reassuring me, even though I left the du'a. However, you guessed it, it got even worse. My yaqeen was developing massively, even though I had no idea what yaqeen even was. SubhanAllah. I mean, as in, I didn't know the full definition of it. There was a miracle that I call the miracle of research. Among other miracles, but let's discuss this one. We had a group project in college, okay? I finished my group projects before the deadline, and you know how a lot of us like to do it. In the exact last second before the deadline, we leave like one project, right? Remember, she's extremely depressed, especially after that incident and such. The deadline was closing in fast. She had, like, if I remember correctly, 3 projects left, or 6 projects, and it was 2 days left. Still, that's definitely not enough time at all. This was my ever first experience of what yaqeen does. SubhanAllah. And it was in the developing stages, as you know, just developing. I just got a taste of it, as you can say, I guess. I was going, Ya Allah, please help her. Have her research done, that kind of thing. She won't have enough time. You told me that she's for me, that kind of thing. So help her, Ya Allah. But I could tell she was panicking more and more and more. And she's not even trying to attempt to do the research. Not at all. It's almost like she gave up. And that's obviously making it worse, right? Because the deadline is closing in fast. She still has like 6 projects and it's 2 days. So that means has to do 3 projects in 1 day. Which is not enough. And it's too much. And her panic just keeps increasing the whole time. And I would go crazy to Allah. Please, Ya Allah, do something, help her. She's going to fail. Why would you pick someone like this for me if they're going to fail or not even take care of themselves and such? And this was during the stage where I was literally fed up of the signs. Yeah, because I keep getting signs. And I know every time I talk to Allah, I get signs. But I've had enough of it. I want action, not signs. So I knew. So let me guess, I'm done talking to Allah, I'm gonna get a sign as always, right? I didn't get a sign. I opened Facebook, nothing. Nothing. Then suddenly, because he does it when you least expect it, remember? Then suddenly I get a notification, all of a sudden. I go, I wonder who that is from. It's my best friend. Oh, okay. Probably making a post or whatever. I opened the post. It literally says, do not be sad. All of this will be fixed accordingly. Allah knows what he's doing. It was something like that. What? I was so shocked I was actually scared. Because I was looking for signs and I found nothing. Because I know he keeps doing it every time. And I was fed up from them. But that sign was so specific, it was probably the first sign that was actually too specific. And I'm going, what? And you guessed it. What happened? It got so bad. The deadline is getting even closer. I asked her how she's feeling, if she's doing any research. It got even worse. She's panicking even more. She doesn't care. And I'm crying. Yes, crying to Allah. What is this? You sent me a sign, Ya Allah, not to be sad. This will be taken care of. What is going to be taken care of? Look at her. Look what she's doing. Look what I am doing. Look at the deadline. Wallah lazim. It kept getting even closer and closer and even worse and worse and worse. That's what yaqeen is, guys. The whole world is burning around you, and you're still following what your heart says and not your mind or eyes. The whole thing is just crimsons. It's not even red flags, it's literally crimson flags at this point. Everything is against me. Everything. But I refuse to give up. I can't give up. I refuse. It doesn't exist in my book. I refuse. I've been through so much. So what? I've been depressed. I've been suicidal. I've literally experienced almost all of depression stages at this point. I don't know what the word give up means anymore. I don't care. And I keep going, even though the deadline is getting even worse. She's not doing anything. I'm crying more and more and more, until I was almost, okay, Allah. I didn't even want, even though I was giving up, it wasn't even me believing, oh, so this wasn't a sign. No, because I could not deny it. What did I instead say? Okay, Allah, so you're telling me she's going to fail, but it's a good thing. What happened literally after that, maybe by an hour? She sends a text going crazy in all capitals. The deadline has been delayed. The deadline has been delayed. Wallah lazim. In the entire group chat. And hold on, that's not the miracle, guys. The miracle is what? The reaction of everyone in the group was literally just, oh, cool. That's it. No one, because you know how it is. Everyone basically finished. It was just maybe because it's the deadline, they had just one project or something. Oh, okay, cool. I guess I can just delay that one project till, it was for 2 weeks, by the way. So the deadline got delayed by 2 weeks. So literally the only one to benefit from this was who? Her. Imagine. Out of the entire group, just one project maybe left, or two. She had like 6. So she's the only one that literally benefited from that miracle. That's why it's a miracle. And see what Yaqeen is? Everything. Deadline is closing in. It's over. And what happened? And I just refuse. My heart is just telling me, you literally know that's a sign. Don't try to act all surprised. You know it's a sign. He told you, don't worry, don't be sad. Subhanallah. That was my first ever taste of Yaqeen. There were multiple ones as well, but as I said, I'm trying to summarize as much as I can. This is way too long. Now fast forward to years. She met a bunch, yes guys, a bunch of guys. Not 1, not 2, not 3, possibly 5 or 4. Other than the one she wanted to marry, of course. So that's probably 5 or 6. And the difficult part was, when did that happen? Only when I really believed the undeniable signs, because obviously they're undeniable. You can't say anything. You either ignore them or you accept them. That's why they're undeniable. You can't deny them. So you just either act like they're not there, act stupid, or accept them. No other way. So I obviously accepted them. What happened? She was with other guys. And it wasn't in a row either. It wasn't like, yeah, one guy, then the next. It was one guy for maybe like 2 months. She leaves them, is alone for like a month, and then the next guy comes and so on. And the whole time I'm literally just watching from the sidelines. I can't do anything. I can't say anything. I literally have no power, no control, nothing. And I can't stop the diet. Subhanallah, huh? Not one guy. And every time, yeah, obviously, depression getting worse, crying to Allah, what is going on, Ya Allah? Why choose this person for me? Because now it wasn't even anymore, Ya Allah, are you choosing this person for me? No, I know he chose her for me. I know. But I'm just, why Allah? Why choose her? She knows I love her. Yeah, I told her, by the way. She knows I love her. But she thinks she's the devil. And yeah, the reason she doesn't want to love me is because she thinks she's going to hurt me because I'm too good for her. SubhanAllah. Because of my closeness to Allah, that kind of thing. She doesn't want to believe she deserves Allah's forgiveness, that kind of thing. So she's with guys that she thinks are also ones that don't deserve Allah's forgiveness. You get the idea. So she doesn't hurt anybody, essentially. Yeah, she's that kind. Why do you think I call her the ticket to Allah? She's an angel. And I keep crying to Allah, why choose her, Allah? You could have chosen so many girls, so many options. It's limitless. And you chose this? Why? Why? I get it. She's driving me closer to you. Then what? Any girl can do the same. Yeah, I know, the other girls did not. But I mean, you could have chosen someone that still does the same. Why her specifically? During that time, with the other, boys, I had a second vision. It was me walking in the house, talking to Allah casually, like he's a friend. Just casually speaking, not even just making dua, casually speaking with Allah. That's it. SubhanAllah. And you guessed it. Less than a month after that vision, Allah lives in my head. That's the best way to describe it. He literally lives in my head. I'm always speaking with him. The entire time I'm having conversations with him. Even before making this video, after making this video, during the making of this video, in my head. SubhanAllah. However, that wasn't the only thing that happened from this vision. Also, when I woke up immediately from that vision, she started speaking to me very differently. And yes, very differently as in a loving language that she would never use with me. And you obviously guessed it. This is it! This is finally the answer! I'm going crazy because I've been patient for so many years, guys, you have no idea. This is finally it! That kind of thing. But it wasn't. Because she would keep pushing herself back when she gets too close. Because she's scared of hurting me. And I could tell even her complete behavior towards me changed. SubhanAllah. She would literally get too close, speaks in a certain way, and then immediately just backs off. For no reason at all. She backs off. I am not even getting close or talking or at all. She gets close to me and then she backs off. SubhanAllah. And she would look and just be very disappointed and sad with herself. And then just leaves. Just like that. SubhanAllah. Anyway, you get the idea. I'm watching from the sidelines. Every time she's with the guys, she leaves them. Months later, she's with a new guy, that kind of thing. And I'm crying to Allah. SubhanAllah. And my life is getting even more difficult. More than it already is. It just keeps getting worse. SubhanAllah. Anyway, because this is getting too long, fast forward. It got to a point where we were completely separated. I couldn't talk to her. She couldn't talk to me. And she passed away. A car accident. And because we were separated, I could not even attend her funeral. Can you imagine? Because I woke up late when I heard about the news. It was already too late. They buried her. I did not even know where her grave was. This is my tests, SubhanAllah. And I lost all my emotions more than ever. I could even cry, but now I am unable to cry anymore. Very rarely do I ever cry. It's only when I'm speaking with Allah sometimes, or things relating to these situations. Anything else, nothing. And yes, I shouted at Allah actually shouted and went crazy when she passed away, and you get the idea, obviously. So this whole time it was a game, that kind of thing. She wasn't for me, blah 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 blah. But Allah reassured me with something else that I can't talk about. And I'm sure you can connect the pieces. It was actually a third vision. I had in total 4 visions, by the way. 3 visions to me, 1 vision about me. Do you know when Allah allowed me to find her grave? 2 years. 2 years. SubhanAllah. And to test me, I didn't even know the location was 100% the correct one. I was told it probably isn't. But I went there with my yaqeen. Into the graveyard. Asked about her. Everyone was literally going, we don't know. We haven't heard of that name ever. That kind of thing. I had only 2 pictures. A picture of the gravestone. And somewhat the site. That's it. Literally, I was like Sherlock Holmes. No other clue as to where the grave actually is, or if that even is their location. And I even knew all of that and still went to the graveyard. With yaqeen, complete yaqeen, because I knew 100% Allah was not allowing me to see it before. But now He gave me the permission. So it has to be the location. Yaqeen, again. And you guessed it. Literally every red flag you can imagine. Never heard of that name. That grave looks modern. This entire site is all ancient. These look like new building materials. We don't have those kind of materials. You're probably at the wrong location. I called one of my friends who was at the funeral and such. They said, I don't know. I'm not sure that's actually the location. Literally. Everything against me. Like everything else. SubhanAllah. Oh, and during that time, of course, after she passed away by like a month, I made a book about Allah. I started helping people, giving them messages, signs from Allah, all of this because of her. And I called her the ticket to Allah. Now fast forward to where we are in the graveyard and such. I searched the graveyard for an entire, probably an hour and a half or an hour. And it was scorching hot. I'm sweating, but I don't care. Everything is against me, and I don't care. I'm just walking through the entire graveyard. Literally everyone is looking at me like I'm some idiot, crazy person, poor person, whatever you can imagine. And I have anxiety. So I know they're looking at me the entire time. This poor person, he's looking for her and you can't find her. Nobody knows who this girl is. We're telling him this isn't the right location. The entire grave was walking with me, the gravekeepers, I guess, to try to help locate her grave with me. Wallah lazim. And I did not care how embarrassing that was. And as soon as I was about to give up, once again you imagined it, I suddenly hear my name being called from one of the gravekeepers. Where were you? I was calling for you. She's right there. Wallah lazim. My heart just flared up. My eyes just flared up. Seriously? And now I visit her every month in the grave ever since. Every month I visit her, I talk to her, have communications with her. Not caring at all because I know she hears everything. SubhanAllah. And this whole TikTok thing started from all of this, same as the book about Allah. Literally just Allah guiding me to do, and I just listen. Even though I have massive anxiety, I literally took more than an hour just to press the record button, by the way. Believe it or not. The first ever video. All this because of the ticket to Allah. Even one of the sisters had a dream about her, standing next to me smiling, and it was a true dream because she saw her what she actually looks like. So you can imagine why Yaqeen changes everything. Why I keep saying that. SubhanAllah. And yes, like I said, there are some things in my future I'm not allowed to talk about, but you can connect the pieces. Allah told me she's my wife, and she's passed away. Connect the pieces from there. A third vision, and I already had a fourth vision, but it wasn't to me, it's about me. SubhanAllah. Someone told me. From my loved ones. And it's an unbelievable vision. SubhanAllah. In fact, as crazy as this may sound, a lot of my followers have seen me in their dreams, telling them about their du'as and if they're going to be accepted. SubhanAllah. Do you know the number one question I keep getting from my DMs and comments? It's marriage. And things go in the opposite. People are with someone else, engaged to someone else. And they got signs telling them that it's actually going to happen, that kind of thing. SubhanAllah. May Allah bless us all with al-Firdaus al-A'la and not al-Jannah, and guide us all for eternity. Ameen.